Oh, Prabhuji, I'll introduce you once again.
Oh, sure.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dana Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Welcome to our weekly BhagavatSanga program. In this program, devotees read and recite set of prayers and share their realizations. Today, we are doing the theme of prayers of King Chitraketu from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 16, verses 34 to 48. Today we have a very wonderful devotee presenting, Roshan Prabhuji, who's our resident Lakshmana from Diwali festival. Thank you sincerely, Prabhuji, for your service. Hare Krishna, and over to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prashant Prabhu. So you can start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna devotees. So I'll be sharing my learnings from prayers of Chitraketu Maharaj. Starting with verse 34. Chitraketur uvacha अजित जितः सममतिभिः साधुभिः भवान् जितात्मभिर्भवता विजतस्ते अपि च भजताम् अकामात्मनां य आत्मदो अतिकरुणाः. Translation. Chitraketu said, O unconquerable Lord, although you cannot be conquered by anyone, you are certainly conquered by devotees who have control of mind and senses. They can keep you under their control because you are causelessly merciful to devotees who desire no material profit from you. Indeed, you give yourself to them, and because of this, you also have full control over your devotees. In this verse, Chitraketu Maharaj is talking about characteristics of devotees and also characteristics of Krishna, that Krishna is Ajitaha. He cannot be conquered easily, or he cannot be conquered by anyone. But simultaneously, he also gives characteristics of devotees under whose control Krishna is. He says that he should be a samamati bhi, devotees who have equal vision towards all living entities and who see everything in relation to Krishna. That's first quality. And then sadhu bhi, which is someone who is well behaved, whose behavior is always in accordance with the shastras. Sadhu bhi, jitatma bhi, one who has full control of his mind and senses. By such a person, Krishna is easily won over. And also in this verse, it is said that the devotees are under full control of Krishna. Not only that, devotees control Krishna, and this is made possible because of causeless mercy of Krishna, Atikarunaha. Also, these devotees, one of the important characteristics is akamatmanam, which is they do not have any desire. They don't have any material desires. Only thing that they desire is service of Krishna, because of which Krishna because of his causeless mercy, comes under the control of such devotees. Verse 35. Tava vibhavah khalu bhagavan jagad udaya sthiti layadini vishwasrijaste samsas tatra mrisha spardhanti prithag abhimataya. So in this verse, Chitraketu Maharaj is talking about relationship between Krishna and this world, which is that Krishna is the creator of this world. Everything comes from him, as even first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam said, Janmadhyasya tu anvayaditratas charthes obhigyasvarat. Creation, maintenance, and destruction all happens because of Krishna. And there are secondary creators, Lord Brahma, etc., who are secondary creators and administrators of this world, but they are not independent of Krishna. They are plenary portions of expansions of Krishna to be able to, those are called secondary creators, but ultimate creator, maintainer, and destroyer is all Krishna. Jagadudaya Sthiti Layadini. And these secondary creators may sometimes come under because of false notion, they might come under the notion that they are independent creators. Tatra mrisha spardhanti prithak abhimataya. But that is not the truth. Truth is that they are always subordinate to, and they are dependent on Krishna for creation, maintenance, and destruction. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi. They are also engaged in worshipping Krishna, and because of worshipping Krishna, they get the potency to be able to create. Verse 36. Paramanu Paramamahataha Tvam Adya Ant antantara varti traya vidurah adavante apicha sattvanam yad dhruvanam tad evantara alepi. In this verse, we are talking about, Chitraketu Maharaj is talking about uh, the feature of Krishna, that he is the only one who is ever existent. Nothing else in this world is permanent. Everything else is temporary. He's the only dhruvam. He's the only permanent reality. The creation happens, and then there is destruction. Before creation happens, Krishna exists. After destruction, Krishna exists. And even in the middle, Adya, Anta, Anantara, beginning, end, and in between, Krishna is the one that pervades. He's always there. He is the one unchanging reality, and therefore is referred to as Dhruvam. Adav, Ante, Apicha, Sattvanam. In the beginning, end, and in middle, Krishna is always there. He's in the smallest of atoms and is in the biggest of planets. Krishna talks about all pervasive feature of Krishna and also his ever existent nature. He is Sat. He is the only thing that truly exists, and everything derives its existence from Krishna. It comes into existence and gets destroyed, and the temporary existence that it has, it comes from Krishna. Verse 37. Shitya adi bhi esha किलावृतः सप्तभिर्दशगुणोत्तरैर् अंडकोशः यत्र पतति अनुकल्पः सह अंडकोटिकोटिभिः तद अनन्तः. Continuing on this relation of Krishna and this material creation, Chitraketu Maharaj says that Krishna and material creation, even though this material creation itself is vast, and he also describes it is made up of these 7 elements, earth, water, fire, air, sky. There are different classifications of the material elements and gross and subtle material elements, and the extent of these are coverings or layers of the universe, which is in form of an egg-shaped cell. Saptabhir dash gunottarair. Each layer is 10 times more than the preceding layer, and therefore it is said that the material world which is like a egg-shaped thing, which is covering of all of these things as we have seen in pictures. This is one material universe, and then there are like millions and millions of such universe. All of these universe, compared to Krishna, these are like atoms moving within his body. Yatra patati anukalpaha. Within Krishna, these millions of universe, they are like mustard seed within a bag, emanating from the pores of Mahavishnu as he exhales, and everything going in him as he inhales. So these are insignificant, even though this material world in itself is huge and incomprehensible, but compared to Krishna, even these are like minute atoms. So this gives us an estimation of how big Krishna is. If the material creation itself is so difficult for us to comprehend, Krishna is way beyond this. He said that it's like a spark of his glory. All of the material creation, which is like 1/4 of the entire creation, is like a spark of Krishna's glory. So it gives us an idea of how pervasive and how big Krishna is. That's why one of the names for Krishna is Brahman. Brahman means that which is really, really big. Moving on to next verse, 38. Vishayatrisho narapasavo ya upasate vibhutir na param tvam tesham ashish isha tad anu vinashyanti yatha rajkulam. In this verse, Chitraketu Maharaj is talking about people, our relation to Krishna, or sometimes people in general who are Vishayatrisho, living entities in general. The characteristic is that they hanker for material sense objects. There is a thirst for material sense object, and those people are referred to here as Narapasavu. Because animal body or any body other than human being, that is meant for, it's bhogi yoni, it's meant for enjoying, for sense enjoyment, sense gratification, and also for sometimes paying for our sinful actions. Whereas human body, that is meant for human realization, is meant for self-realization. But people who use human body for sense gratification, they are referred to here as Narpasavu. They are engaged in activities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, which is the common thing between humans and animals. And they never go beyond that, which is the special quality of human is dharma, following dharma for apavarga. But they never follow that, but they are only engaged in pursuits uh, of accumulating sense objects. So those people are referred to as here Narpasavo, and they tend to worship demigods who are plenary expansions of Krishna. And in this verse, Chitraketu Maharaj is saying that what is the destination of such people? Both the result that they obtained by worshipping demigods as well as demigods in due course of time, both of them are destroyed because none of them are permanent. Just like Krishna was described as being ever existent, demigods, they are not permanent, they are not ever existent, and so both of them get destroyed in due course of time, and therefore there is no use of worshipping demigods is what is being told here. Both of them, it becomes like being part of a royal dynasty when king is no longer in power, as Prabhupada says, like Rajkulam, which is like a lot of nobility and business people who are connected to the king, but when king is not in power, there is no value of being in those positions. Similarly, worshipping demigods is not useful because demigods themselves lose power and themselves are destroyed in course of time. So what to talk of benefits that we get from them? And therefore worshipping demigod is futile. It doesn't lead to much. It doesn't have any permanent value. It can give some temporary relief, but it's just cheating. And next verse is the solution of what to do if you are materially inclined in the beginning to start with. So going to next verse, Kamadhyas Twai Rachita न परमरोहन्ति यथा करम्भ बीजानि ज्ञानात्मनि अगुणमये गुणगणतो अस्य द्वन्द्वजालानि. So Chitraketu Maharaj says, Kamdhyas. So people whose intellect is materially directed, if they happen to somehow or the other worship Krishna, the result of that is you obviously get the thing that you ask for, but that is sort of a side effect. The main benefit that you get out of worshipping Krishna is that na parama rohanti yatha karambha bijani, because Krishna is Gyanatmani. He's full of knowledge. His existence is in knowledge. Agunamaye. He is beyond the gunas, gunatit. He's ever unaffected by the three modes of material nature. And therefore, when we worship Krishna, yad bhavo tad bhavati, we get qualitative oneness with Krishna. When we worship Krishna, even with a desire, we lose all of those desires. And when the mind is cleansed of material desires, we do not again take material body. And as a result of that, the characteristic of material world is dualities. It's a network of dualities. So we never get trapped in that again. If we worship Krishna, even if the worship initially is materially motivated, as is in Bhagavad Gita, Artharthi Bhakta, a devotee who desires something, when you approach Krishna, in result is that even though in the beginning you are materially motivated, in the end you lose all of that, you become akam, or you become free from all desires, and then you basically go beyond samsara, beyond the cycle of birth and death. That's the effect of worshipping Krishna. Going on to next verse, 40. Jitam ajit tada bhavata yadaha bhagavatam dharmam anavadyam nishkinchana ye munaya atma ramayam upasate apavargaya. So in this verse, Chitraketu Maharaj talks about Bhagavat Dharma, or it says that Krishna is the one who started Bhagavat Dharma, is the path, the process of devotional service, and this is anavadyam. It is free from any material faults. It's completely faultless, the process of Bhagavat Dharma, and it is practiced by nishkinchana, people who do not have who do not desire material possessions. Nishkinchana means who do not have any material possessions or who do not desire any material possessions. And great Munaya, great thinkers and philosophers and sages, they are the ones who follow Bhagavad Dharma despite being Atma Rama. They are generally, these are like transcendentalists who are self-satisfied, who do not seek shelter in matter, who are thinkers, philosophers, sages. They follow Bhagavad Dharma for apavarga, for liberation. For liberation, they worship Krishna. They follow this path of Bhagavad Dharma, which is faultless. And this itself was started by Bhagavad Dharma, basically means following the instructions of Krishna. And started from Bhagavan. It means basically following the instructions of Bhagavan. And it basically means worshipping Bhagavan. And it is generally followed by people who are very pure. Atma Ramastu Manayo Nirgrantha Purukrame Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhaktim Itham Bhutuguno Hari. Even Atma Ramas, the famous Atma Rama verse says that even Atma Ramas were fully satisfied, even they worship Krishna, because the qualities of Hari is very attractive. It is attractive even to people who are self-satisfied, who are free from any sort of bondage. Even they find qualities of Krishna attractive and they engage in Ahetuki Bhakti, causeless Bhakti. Text 41. Vishamamati Nayatra Nranam Tvam Aham Iti Mama Taveti Chayad Anyatra Vishamadhya Rachito Yaha Sahi Avishuddha Shayashnur Adharma Bahulah. So it does a comparison between Bhagavad Dharma and other forms of religion that is materially motivated religion as well as pure devotional service. It says in Bhagavad Dharma there is no Vishamamati. Vishamamati means seeing people with different people as in mode of passion. We discriminate between people based on their material bodies, and so you see different people as different. Samamati is one who conquers Krishna, as was described previously, is someone who sees equality within all living beings, whose focus is on equal aspect within every living entity. Visamamati means people who see things differently, who see different people differently, who do not see the underlying unity. For such people, so Bhagavad Dharma does not have any tinge of Vishamamati. Vishamamati does not exist there. Whereas in materially motivated religion, there is notion of I, mine, because material bodies are different, and we see the difference, therefore it becomes I, mine, you, yours. And the religion which is motivated like this, Vishamadhya Rachito Yaha, Sa, it has three qualities. It is impure in the sense that it is infected with material gunas. Shayishnur, which means that it is not permanent, it is temporary, and it is adharma bahula. It has prominence of adharma or irreligion. So these religion tends to create, not only does it encourages people to see people differently, but it also leads to a lot of, it is good neither for oneself nor for others, as will be discussed in next verse. Text 42. Kah shemo nij parayo kiyam vartha swaparadroha dharmena swadrohat tavakopaha parasampidaya tatha dharmaha. So it says what is the futility of materially motivated religion is being talked about here. And what is the use of it? It's not good either for oneself or for others. It causes, when it says it is not good for oneself, means it is not good for one's real self-interest. As we say, Nate Vidu Swartha Gatim Hi Vishnu. Our real self-interest is Vishuddha Sattva, which is Krishna. But these materially motivated, because it starts with a notion of identification with the material body, and therefore it says distinction between living entities. Therefore, it does not do good to oneself. And by such actions, Swadrohat, it displeases Krishna. Tava Kopaha. Activities of such religion is not pleasing to Krishna. And when we identify with bodies and we try to protect our bodies, no sense gratification is possible without hurting others. So it causes hurt to others, sampidaya, and that is adharma. Punya is basically paropkara, and adharma is defined as hurting others. Parasampidaya. Parapida is adharma. So by hurting others, in the process of this so-called religion, one also causes adharma, which is adharma bahula. Going on to next verse. न व्यभिचरति तवेक्षा यया हि अभिहितो भागवतो धर्मः स्थिरचरसत्व कदम्बेषु अपृथक् धियो यम upasate tav aryah. So this characteristics of Bhagavad Dharma is being laid down, which says na vyabhicharati taveksha. It never deviates from having Krishna as its ultimate goal. It is always Bhagavad Dharma is always through in all one's occupational duty and all one's activities. It always, as we said, dharmasya hi apavargasya na artho arthayopakalpate. Dharma is meant for apavarga. It is not meant for accumulating material possessions. Dharma savai pumsang paro dharmo. Yatho dharma is meant ultimately for giving bhakti to Krishna, and therefore the Bhagavad Dharma, it never deviates for having Krishna as the ultimate goal. Yaya hi abhito bhagavato dharma sthirachara sattva kadambeshu. In aprithak dhiya, the vision by which we see the undifferentiated reality within all the living entities, sthira chara, movable and immovable living entities, we see equality. Pandita Samadarshina. One of the qualities is that equal vision amongst all living entities is endowed by Bhagavad Dharma by practice, and that is on which the religion is based. So, aprathagdhya yam upasate tav arya. That is what civilized people should follow. Civilized people should follow Bhagavad Dharma, which emphasizes on the underlying equality of all the living entities, and therefore we do not so there are two layers. Obviously, there is a level where you see spiritual equality between all the living entities, but you also behave with everyone according to their qualification, which is when we are dealing with them externally. But the vision is that the focus or predominance is on equality of all the living beings. That's the characteristic of Bhagavad Dharma 44. Nahi Bhagavan aghatitam idam twad darshanan nrinam akhil papshayah yannam sakrit shravanat pukkaso api vimuchyate samsarat. It's talking about the result of having darshan of Krishna. He says, Nahi Bhagavan aghatitam idam. It is not possible, Bhagavan, that by your darshan, tav darshanam nrinanam akhil papshayah, that their papas are not destroyed by looking at you, when it is said that just by hearing, yannam sakrit shravanat, even by hearing once, even the lowest of person can be completely freed from the cycle of birth and death. So it's even yannam shruti matrena puman bhavati nirmala. Just by hearing one's name, if one can be completely purified, then by seeing you, where is the doubt that by seeing you one's sinful reactions or sinful propensities will not be destroyed? Moving on to next verse. Atha Bhagavan vayam adhuna twad avalok parimrishtasya malaha surarishina yat kathitam tavakena katham anyatha bhavati. This is by looking at you, all my impurities have been destroyed, just as was instructed by Narada Rishi. How can something that he has said not come true? Moving on to next verse. Viditam ananta samashtam tava jagad atmano janair ihacharitam vigyapyam paramaguroh kiyad iva savitur iva khadyotai. So in this verse, Chitraketu Maharaj is talking about that Krishna is, out of his humility, he is saying that Krishna is all-knowing, and therefore what's the use of me trying to establish anything or trying to tell you anything? Because you are Jagadatmanu, you are within the heart of every living entity, so you know everything. Krishna is one of the features of Krishna is Paramatma. He is the Chitragya within all living entities, as Bhagavad Gita says. And therefore, because he's within the heart of every living entity, therefore he knows all their desires and all their actions. And therefore, he also knows what is within the heart of Chitraketu Maharaj. Therefore, me trying to establish anything is like showing lamp to sun. 47. Namastubhyam Bhagavate Sakala Jagata Sthiti Layodayeshaya Duravasitatma Gataye Kuyoginam Bhida Paramahamsaya. He offers his respects to Krishna, who is again emphasizes his role as the creator, as God, generator, operator, and destroyer of the universe, and emphasizes that it is very difficult for a Kuyoginam, one who is materially motivated, who is not connected to Krishna, for him to be able to Durvasitam Atmagataye, for him to be able to understand position of Krishna is very difficult. Moving on to the last verse. Yam vai swasantam anuvishwasrijah swashanti yam chekitanam anuchitya uchchakanti bhumandalam sarspayati yasya murdhani tasmai namo bhagavatestu sahasra murdhani. Offers his respects, says that by whose efforts, when Krishna makes effort, that's when the secondary creators or the maintainers or administrators of the universe, because of his endeavor, they endeavor. Yam chekitam anuchittasya uchchakanti. When Krishna perceives, then the senses perceives. There's also Krishna is the one who enables all cognition to happen and also all actions to happen. He is the one who enables all, like for eyes to be able to shrotrasya shrotram manaso manoyad. He is the one who is the eyes of the eye. He is the one that enables eye to see. He's the one that enables mind to think. And so on for all the senses. He's the source of all of it. And same goes for the universal creation. Now also Bhumandalam, like it says that the universe, which is so huge, is like a mustard seed on his head. And because this is Anant Sesh that Chitraketu Maharaj is referring to, he says Sasra Murdhani, one who is million hooded, thousands of hoods. He offers his respects to him. That's the last verse. I think that's it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, wonderful class. You covered all the verses and recited all of them very nicely. I'll share a couple of points that I liked. You talked about some of the qualities of Krishna. Krishna is unconquerable, creator of the world. He's the permanent reality, beginning, end, and in between. We talked about how he's all pervasive. And then, you talked about how from him comes all the temporary existence, the material world, millions of universes like mustard seeds. And then, like in Chitraketu explained, you talked about how demigod worship is not recommended, doesn't have any permanent value, like you said. And the solution is we should worship Krishna because that goes beyond the samsara cycle, and by worshiping Krishna, we can become materially desireless and instead, have desire for Krishna. And the method to do it is, through proper true dharma, Bhagavad dharma, and you explained how what it is and what it's not. And religion that's not focused on Krishna is not good for oneself or for others. It's not pleasing for Krishna. So ultimately, I really like the point where you said it will cause us to hurt others, which is ultimately a dharma. So, if we identify with the body, engage in sense pleasure, that's ultimately a dharma. And instead, the true dharma is we never deviate from Krishna as the ultimate goal. And, dharma is, and that our life is meant for bhakti to serve Krishna. And you explained the 2 points about, we should see everyone equally and then treat everyone equally. And then last few points you mentioned of how King Chitraketu glorifies the Lord, that he knows everything, how Chitraketu is a servant and he's just shining a lamp to the sun, because Krishna already knows he's the Paramatma. And also the last verse you explained how, you know, even what we see, or what we think, all is enabled by Krishna. All the universes, like mustard seeds, all the secondary creators, they're all resting on Anantasheshan. All of it comes from Krishna. So very wonderful class, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Devotees, thank you all for joining. We will continue with BhagavatSanga program next week. We have two announcements and two wonderful opportunities to engage in devotional service this week. On Saturday, we have Narsimha Yajna, a very sacred ceremony that like Lord Ram performed, Yudhishthira Maharaj performed, and we are performing it at our temple. This is being performed to eliminate any obstacles and attract the Lord's mercy and auspiciousness for our temple construction. And it's also an opportunity for us to meet and associate with Dhruva Prabhu, who is a very renowned devotee of Lord Narasimha. And if you Google Dhruva Prabhu, there's many videos where you can see him performing similar yajnas. This program will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., followed by prasadam. And then another wonderful opportunity is on Sunday. We will have special Sunday feast with His Grace Amalendra Prabhu from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., also followed by prasadam. If you have not heard Krishna Katha from Amalendra Prabhu, this is a very great opportunity to do so. He will take you to Goloka, is how I felt from listening to Amalendra Prabhu. So we are very fortunate to have him grace our temple. And he's doing kirtan and he's doing Krishna Katha. So please don't miss this opportunity to engage in devotional service. With that, devotees, we will end our program today, and we will continue next week. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Roshan Prabhu, for the class.